Good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is Crystal Jordan, and you guys know what this is. We've been here for a while. This is Reality Check, and of course, we are in February, which is the month of love. We are also in the month of Black History. So, hopefully, you guys are celebrating. Hopefully, you all have had a chance to support some other Black businesses and other Black medium platforms. We want to make sure that we're supporting each other we should be supporting each other all the time. But I think this month kind of brings it to our remembrance, so we know that that's what we need to be doing. I also hope you guys have had a chance to check out Fat Tuesdays on Prime Video with Joe Torre. He's our cover for this week here at Rolling Out, and we're super excited to be supporting the collaboration with Joe Torre, comedian Guy Torre, and Amazon Prime. Check that out. It's Black history from a comedic perspective. Steve Harvey, Tiffany Haddish, Chris Rock, Richard Pryor, Kobe Bryant. So many people are a part of this documentary that you definitely don't want to miss the opportunity to check it out, and check it out on the premiere week so we can show these networks and these platforms that we support our own. All right, you guys with me? So without further ado, you guys know, like I always say, it's cuffing season. It's cold outside. You need to make sure you have a boo. And so we're talking about Ready to Love. Now we have the Curvalicious babe, I call her, because she's just as beautiful as she wants to be. But unfortunately, she was the first person to, well, the first female to leave on this season of Ready to Love. But what I like about this season is Tommy is making sure that he says, just because you're leaving the show does not mean that you're not ready to love. It just means that your love may not be here. So please help me welcome the very beautiful Kina to Reality Check. Hey, lady.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
How are you? You're looking beautiful in your red.
Yes, it's Valentine's coming up, so I thought red would be appropriate
It
for the
is.
interview.
It is. Was absolutely. It does look very, very festive, very loving there. I think that's better. If you guys, somebody said wipe the screen. I hope the screen is a little bit better now. But we have Kina looking all ready for love in her red with her red lip. I'm here for it.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Well, people are saying, I was telling you before you came on, it's so weird watching this show because we know that, as a part of the way the programming is, somebody has to go first.
Mhm.
However, it's so hard to see somebody leave so early in the show because you don't really get a chance to get to know their personality. You don't really get a chance to see if there could be some real connection. So, first of all, how did you feel about leaving the show so early?
At first I was a little disappointed
Mhm.
because I really wanted to connect,
Right.
but my person really wasn't there at that time. So
Yeah.
I was okay with that decision to leave early, so I don't need to waste time.
Right.
Um, so it was okay for me.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to play this video. This is the first clip where we met you. I like to watch the introduction so we can see how you stepped out and stepped up into the mansion there at in Potomac, because we know that DC, it moved a little bit this season, and actually this season is a little bit different than last season, even though it's not very far. In the demographic area, it's not that far, but definitely you guys have a different type of cast. So let's check this out.
Yeah.
This is Kina being introduced to the rest of the people at the rest of the singles at the Ready to Love Mansion.
I'm the diva in a relationship. I want my man to lead, but I'm definitely in the background pulling the strings.
I mean, put me everything better. How you doing, man?
Hi.
How you doing? It's a pleasure.
Nice
How you
to
doing?
meet you.
Fernando.
The first person I met was Fernando, and he was so sweet. But I like my man ass flat. I got all the ass. Your ass don't need to be big as mine. What do you like to do for fun?
I love to cook, and I make these lovely dishes. And I'm Panamanian also. My dad's from Panama.
Oh, I love me a Caribbean man.
Yeah.
You got my attention now.
That was cute. That was cute. Did you really rule him out just because of his butt?
No, see, let me clear that up. That is all editing right there. So,
Okay.
they ask you what's your preference,
Mhm.
what type of things do you like in a man? And I was, saying the type of things that I liked, of course. And they said, what type of things that you don't like? And I said, I don't like men with hips and ass. which I don't. That's
Right.
my preference. So they kind of edited to make it look like I was talking to Fernando, and it was two separate conversations. But
Okay.
that's just my preference. It had nothing to do with Fernando.
Yeah, because it made it seem like you looked at him, assessed his body, and was like,
No, absolutely not. I called Fernando. I was like, Fernando, that has nothing to do with you. And me and him, before that even aired, we had spoke about, I make this comment about, I don't like men with hips or whatever. And because, the thing is, guys now are wearing skinny jeans,
they
you
are,
know?
they
So
are
now we are able to see
their body
their
shapes.
body types a lot more.
Mhm.
I'm about to be 40, so I grew up in the era of baggy pants, so you really didn't know what the guys had going on. So now you see everything, just like they see everything on us. So
Right.
that was just my preference, and I, told the producers that,
Yeah.
and they went with it.
That's the thing. They once you say it, they can play with it as they want. What did you think about Fernando though? He was on last week, and I thought he was very, handsome. He has a beautiful smile. I really liked a lot of the things that he was saying, but I don't think he admitted that he was nervous and that he didn't probably come across, the best on, for the ladies, and didn't really put his best foot forward because he was nervous. What did you think about him? And then we'll go into some of the other guys.
Fernando is great. Unfortunately, that was the only conversation that I was able to have with Fernando that day. So we didn't really have a lot of interaction
Mhm.
besides that first clip that you saw. And then, they kind of push you to talk to other people.
Yeah.
So then, I'm talking to him maybe for a few minutes, and it's like, okay, talk to him, talk to her. So I didn't get a lot of interaction with Fernando, but he's an awesome guy, very bright, intelligent. He got his stuff together.
And he
He's a
says he
good
can
catch.
cook.
Yeah.
He says he can cook also, which is
Yes, that's what he said. I'm still waiting to try that macaroni and cheese he keep talking about.
well. What I want to ask you about, let's just start with the mixer because I'm always interested in what is your physical type? We know not, and I'm with you. I think a lot of the ladies in the chat are like, we're not into the skinny jeans. After a certain age, I just don't know why a man would want us to see his shape. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more for the baggy jeans, or at least the fit, not the skinny jeans.
Yeah,
But
just something a bit more complimentary to your body, because the thing is, men are so judgmental on our bodies.
say
And
that.
we have to be able to, okay, I can't wear this dress because my stomach poking out. I can't wear this shirt
Yeah.
because my breast is too big. So women are always freaking out about how we look, but no one's calling men out on nothing.
No, but we need to. And
They,
I
they
always
absolutely need to be told. They absolutely need to be told.
there is the skinny jeans and a big belly. It's not the move. It's skinny jeans, period. But even like tight shirts and a big belly, we're not feeling that as ladies. We don't like that. That's not what we want to see. But you're right. We don't call men out on it because it's just you'll see a man being super critical of a woman and he is not really anyway. Okay, I can go on that topic forever. I can talk about that a long time. What happened when you got you stepped out in your black dress, you were ready to mingle, you had your ponytail ready. Who did you see? Who caught your eye? Who were you not feeling? Who were you feeling? What was the vibe when you first got there?
Um, I was ready when I first got to the mix. I was like, yes, I'm happy to be here. I was like energetic and had ready to have fun. The cocktails were rolling. I had a few Prosecco's. The first person that I actually spoke to was Fernando. He was the first one. And so, he's Caribbean. I love a Caribbean man. So I was like engaged in that conversation with him. And
Okay.
so that was very short and brief. And then after that, I think I might have met Paul after that.
Okay.
And me and Paul had definitely had an interesting conversation. That wasn't, but it wasn't air. But it's interesting as he is,
Mm-hmm.
I had the best conversation with Paul that day.
Wow.
Um,
Give
yes.
me some insight because Paul, I don't know if the editing catches him up or he just puts his foot in his mouth. But even he was the first person there. And the first thing he said was Mufasa didn't have anything on him. And I was just like, what? What was
So it was funny though, because Paul, he first, he's intense. So he came at me real intense. but I'm
Okay.
intense too. So he came at me real intense, and I was like, I need a minute. And that's exactly what I told him. I need a minute. And so I like soak her back somewhere else. And then he came back and he was like, are you ready yet?
Oh,
And I
wow.
was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, when we really sat down, and I'm time enough for Paul. So that's why we were able to, get through the conversations, and
Okay.
he was able to like take back the layers because I wasn't offended by the type of
The
questions he was
intensity.
asking me,
Yeah.
because I'm asking you asking me one, I'm going to ask you one straight back. So
Right.
our conversation was very fluid.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I like Paul, like it was pretty good, but none of that was captured, of course.
Oh, wow.
I had a really good conversation with Laverne. Me and Laverne hit it off. None of that was captured. So
Mhm.
between Laverne, and then I had a really good conversation as well with Cliff. And none of that was captured. So those were like my three people that I really connected with, I would say.
Who were you physically attracted to? And then you said you had the best conversation with Paul, but who did you see and automatically were like, that's my type? Or if there was.
Um, I didn't see anyone that was like, that's my type,
Okay.
per se, but Laverne was very well put together. So I like a well put together man.
Okay.
And he had a really nice, I'm big on teeth, and he had a really nice set of teeth and
Yeah, he has
smile.
pretty
So
smile.
yes, he had a really nice smile. So that caught my eye.
Okay. What about Demetrius? Because he was like in everybody's top. He was dressed, kind of fly, and a lot of the ladies were, it seemed like every time someone saw him, they had a comment to say about him. What did you think about Demetrius?
Dimitri was very well put together. We didn't really have too much of a conversation. I
Okay.
might have spoke with Demetrius maybe for 20 minutes the most the whole time.
Okay.
Because you have to also understand that production is telling you, okay, we need you to go talk to this
Move
person.
along. Yeah.
Move along, move along. So it's really like Cliff said, speed dating on crack. So, you know, so they want, they're kind of pushing you to kind of touch everyone. Like I know Tori, he was like, dang, every time I try to talk to you, producers are telling you to talk go somewhere else. So
Yeah.
I barely spoke to Tori. Like it was really very quick.
Is there anybody that you wish you had a chance? Because that's one of the things that I'm going to show this clip in a minute. That you said you wish you didn't really have a chance to really get some of your connections. Is there anybody that you think, wow, I regret not making a bigger, not trying harder to talk to him or not making a bigger effort maybe to connect with him?
I mean, they made me seem like I was being a mean girl to Wally. And I really wish that, it was shown in a different light, and maybe I was, had a little bit more softer approach.
Okay.
But, I spoke to Wally for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and great guy. But like I said, at my age, I have a child. I don't think that I would typically talk to someone that young.
Yeah.
Just with my setup. I didn't know if that was going to work for my setup. And
Yeah.
that was what I was trying to explain to him,
Yeah.
but I was trying to be open about it, but I guess I could have had a softer approach
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, you never know how it's going to be edited, but that's also good to share with people. What do you mean when you say my setup? What do you mean by that? Like you didn't know if it's going to work with your setup.
I mean, I have a 15-year-old child. I'm
Mm,
looking for someone at this point to be able to be she has a great father, but to also be able to be a possible stepdad.
yeah.
I didn't see that for I just didn't see that or get that from him at that time. So
Yeah.
to me, I would look at him more like a little brother, like on that level, not someone that I'm going to have enter my personal space.
Yeah.
Um, but he's a good guy,
Mhm.
cool, funny. He's great, but
How old is he? Because he does seem a lot younger.
I think he's 31.
Okay.
So it's not bad, but it's just, typically I like older men too. So that's
Okay.
also something that I kind of don't really do. That's why I said I don't go in the cradle because I don't.
You did
I just don't go in there.
clear. You were very clear. Well, talk to us a little bit about. I think that this show. It's always interesting to hear people's dating experiences before they got to the show, because usually whatever they've dealt with before kind of shapes how they deal with the people that they meet. Not maybe on the first mixer, but later on in the show. But for you, we didn't get to see that. So tell us a little bit about Kina. What had you experienced dating that led you to being, signing up for Ready to Love?
Well, I've been in a relationship for the like 16 years. So
Oh,
I'm literally just fresh out.
okay.
So I haven't
Wow.
truly dated a while,
Mhm.
and I didn't really want to lead with that per se. So I wasn't leading with that at the
Yeah.
mixer. I
Yeah.
was just kind of trying to keep things on surface. Only a few guys really got to even know, like, okay, I'm fresh out of relationship,
Mhm.
because I didn't know how that would have sounded. Like, dang, you like literally, like I literally had just moved here to the Met to DC area maybe a few
Oh,
months
wow.
right before we started shooting. So I
Where did
was
you
really
come
fresh
from?
out.
Where'd you come from?
Manhattan.
Manhattan. Oh, okay. So you work, because I saw on your Instagram that you mentioned New York, and I was like, but I didn't realize you had just moved. Okay, so you're a New York girl.
Yeah,
That's
so
that's
I so that was, it's kind of been challenging. And so when I moved, it's also during COVID. So it's kind of hard to date in the COVID environment. I'm
Mhm.
very traditional when it comes to dating. I don't really like doing online stuff. I'm
Yeah.
just very in that manner. So I really like to actually go out, meet a guy, lock eyes, gaze, flirt. So I don't really do online dating. So it's difficult at this time, I would say.
Yeah. Well, how because that is 16 years is a long time. That's like a short lifetime. You know what I mean? Like, so how has your experience been? Were you ready to date? Are you a little bit even if it wasn't on the show? Are you excited? Are you a little nervous? Do you feel like you're kind of out? I was out of dating for like 13 years and I was ill prepared. Like I had no idea what are y'all doing out in these streets. I'm not used to this. So how do you feel about just going back and meeting new people, period?
I'm a little guarded. Like I'm the guarded diva. That's that Tommy hit it right on the nose. I am the guarded diva because it takes for me, especially with that whole mixer, I'm
Hmm.
just move at a slower pace when it comes to men and having intimate conversations.
Yeah.
So I that pace was really, really fast for me to just and you know that amount of time just put my whole life story out there.
Yeah.
So I'm guarded in that way. So it just takes a while for me to get to know somebody.
Warm up a little bit. Hmm.
Yeah. So and I'm just used to kind of doing things one way. So just dating a lot of different people right now is kind of scary for me, but I am open, I would say.
Okay.
I'm definitely open now than ever.
Well, that's good. I think this is probably gonna be good for you just to have that experience, because that's one of the things that you said at the end. I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip of your time coming to an end, and then what you said kind of fits along with what you shared at the end of this clip.
The second one, Kina.
I was a bit nervous because I knew that I just didn't make all the connections with all the guys that I needed to at that point.
For one of you, your journey ends right here. The woman that the men decided that just isn't ready to love is Kina. You can say your goodbyes.
Some of the guys thought I wasn't ready to love. I'm a pretty guarded person, so I definitely think my attitude probably was coming off nonchalant.
I promise. Love is out there. Good luck to you.
Bye, everyone. I love.
You know what? First of all, kudos to you for doing that quick self introspection and taking accountability. That was dope, because a lot of people don't do that. We've seen people just react very badly to the fact that they're voted off. But when you said I was probably very guarded, and that it kind of explains why you would be that way if you've been in a 16-year relationship and you're just getting out there. What have you kind of, I guess, learned, because obviously this aired a while ago, about yourself and how to let a little bit of the wall down but still protect yourself from the BS out there?
This whole experience definitely taught me to, sometimes you have to take a leap of faith
Yeah.
and be more open.
Mhm.
Be more open because I'm just stuck in this set type that I've been dealing with for so long, and
Yeah.
I'm missing out on other guys and other different personality types, and because usually I'm an extrovert,
Okay.
and I typically talk to extroverted men as well.
Mhm.
So maybe an introvert might not be a bad thing. Maybe a little bit of both. So I
Yeah.
have to get out the just stop being so set in my ways, like, oh no, this is how it's going to be, this is what I like, I'm not changing. So I'm definitely more open to trying new things.
That's good. That's good. So did you have, I mean, you're not that old, so obviously 16 years is a big part of your adult life.
Hmm.
What was your dating experience prior to that? And then can you tell us a little bit about what you learned from that relationship, not working out?
Like, I didn't, we met in college. So I've known him since college.
Yeah.
And so it was like right out of college type thing. So, and we just our journey kind of started right out of college. So I did not really, wasn't out there, dating around or doing too much. I was focused on him
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
time. So that was like who I wanted to be with.
Mhm.
So I didn't really have I wasn't really making opportunity for anybody because that's what I wanted at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we decided to take our separate ways. But I think from what I've learned from that situation is I think that I have to listen to my heart.
Yeah.
So, sometimes as a woman, we stay longer than what we should.
Most times as a woman we do. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, sometimes there's a lot of time that has lapsed. And so because we've just stayed in a situation so long. So I probably would never do that again.
Yeah. That makes sense. Had you is that your daughter's father?
Yes.
Okay, so that's even more because I understand you not wanting to be very careful about who you bring around your daughter, because you're not with her father anymore, but she's 15, so she's very aware of what mommy's doing and all
Yeah.
that good stuff.
Exactly. And that was also another thing, on the show. I was kind of nervous on what I was portraying and putting out there because
Yeah,
I know she's going to be Googling and watching, and like, oh, my mom going to be on TV. So
yeah,
I was also really nervous on, what I was, how I was going to be
yeah.
perceived as
No,
well.
absolutely.
So the nerves really got a hold of me the first day, really. And it was a long day. Like that elimination happened at 2 a.m.
Oh my God. Wow. So, okay, had you seen Ready to Love before?
I have. I started watching it when I got casted. So I tried to catch up when I got casted.
What did you think about which seasons did you see, and tell us what you thought when you're watching that? Because I'm thinking like if you know you're going to be on a show and you're kind of watching, seeing yourself, on the show. So what did you see, and was there anybody that you thought, wow, he would have been a good match for me?
I did have someone that I was like, oh, this was really could have been my type.
Who would that be, Kina?
um
We want to know.
I just thought he was cute. But he didn't really have a lot of he got eliminated very quickly too, but he caught my eye. I think his name was David. I think he was out of Houston.
Oh, was he kind of chocolate?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, I know you're talking about. He got eliminated because of kind of a misunderstanding. The ladies kind of
Yes.
not they felt like he was being a little bit just too aggressive, and he but you know what? I think another lady from last season mentioned him also. He was very attractive.
Yes, he caught my eye.
Yeah, yeah. Country boy, all the
Yes.
guys were like country boys, real, southern charm in full effect. But I always wonder that just because, well, first of all, most of the people on the show leave single, number one, so you never know where your connection may be. But second of all, it just kind of like most of the time if people get on the show, they're getting on the show because they thought the singles were quality, right? And they felt like, okay, if this person is there, I would date him, so I'll go ahead and do it. You wouldn't sign up for a show that the singles were all whack, you
Right.
know?
I mean, that was definitely one of the reasons why I was like, okay, can't be too bad because
Yeah,
everyone is, we're in COVID. I do want to have some type of dating experience, and everyone should be on the same playing ground as far as dating with intent. Don't want to play no games. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to try to meet some singles here in DC. So I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. I'm thinking, well, you know what, Alexis, Alexis says David isn't chocolate to me, but he was cute, sexy. But that's, you may be thinking about the other David. There were two Davids. There was one, I believe the other guy was named David, but I think who you're talking about, Alexis, is someone else. The chat is alive.
Oh, okay. I don't see the chat.
Yes, they are talking, but all good things. But let me ask you this before we move on from talking about just you and your daughter. I asked Fernando, because he has a daughter as well, that and I asked him what qualities would he look for in a woman that he would have around his daughter, right? And I think the same is true for women with a girl or a boy. Whoever you bring around, as a mother, you want to make sure that person has certain qualities. So what qualities would you want to make sure your partner had in order to feel comfortable bringing him and introducing him to your daughter, who's a teenager? That's a whole different story then, because she's really watching you. She's
watching every move.
Yes. No. Okay, guys. No, we're not talking about Liz's David. We're talking about the earlier on in the show. I don't know. You need to post it, but not Liz's David. I know you're not the religious David. Yes. Okay. So back to Kina. The chat is like, no, that's not the wrong David.
No, not that David. First season Houston David.
Yes, first season Houston. He was he cutie pie chocolate, and one of them body boys that they had on the show. Could take a shirt off with no problem. So okay, Kina, what qualities would you feel comfortable, or would you hope that a man would have if that you would bring around and feel comfortable introducing to your daughter?
For me, I definitely need someone who is responsible and able to not you don't have to even have kids, but I want someone to be able who is comfortable interacting with children. Some people aren't. They don't really interact well with children. So I would need to be able to vet that situation out. I need someone who who could provide. Honestly, I mean, I'm very traditional. So like I said, so I'm used to a mother and father in a household, and I need a man to actually step up and be a provider. I have a great job. I maintain everything on my own, but those are some qualities that I do like. And I need someone who has respect. Because if you can't respect me, there's absolutely no way you're coming to be introduced to my child. So, respect is going to be really key attribute that I'm looking for. And who's transparent as well.
Are you open to having more children? That's a thing that comes up every season because of where people are in their life. So where are you at in that regard?
It definitely would have to be my husband, I would
Absolutely.
say. And it would have to be a conversation that me and my husband have. Right now, single, I'm fine. I don't really need to go back to diapers, but if I don't need to do that again. But if my husband wanted that, it would be something that we would have to discuss. Typically, I would probably date a man with kids.
Okay.
So
being a stepmom, just not. I don't necessarily.
I could be a bonus mom, but if you don't have a child, I really got to be feeling you. Like I really got to be like, oh, you know what? I had this man, baby. Like I got to be feeling you because
you're in love. I think when you're really in love, you will do different things, and that's why I guess we should always wait until we're really in love. Because women say that, and if you get to that place, you're open to all kinds of stuff that you're not if you just with someone that you really know you have no business with, which happens a lot.
Like I said, I'm open to it, but like I said, it has to be a conversation that me and my husband have. It's not going to be a conversation that I'm having with my boyfriend that I just met. It's like, no.
Child please, right? Right. So how has it been? How was it watching yourself on television? What was that experience like? I always think it's interesting when a person goes from being, just not on television to having this huge premiere, and then people seeing them, commenting on them? How does that feel? What did you enjoy it? What did your daughter think?
I actually enjoyed every moment of it. I don't have any regrets about leaving early. I came, I served, I did what I was supposed to do. I
Yeah.
had a good time, watching myself. I thought it was really funny, honestly. I was like, oh my God, like, because there was some parts where, I was getting tired. I needed Tylenol. I started getting, because I get hangry, and I was absolutely hangry up in there. And it took a
Let's
like
see,
it's
y'all.
like
Did they bring you guys like whole meals, or is it just finger food?
it was late. It
Okay.
was late when we were able to eat. So, like I said, it
By
was.
that time, it had.
And when we walked in the mansion, it's beautiful. You smell the aroma of chicken wings and all type of food. And then they don't pass the chicken wing around till like 8 o'clock at night.
Oh,
You've been drinking prosecco, so it's like,
we
so
gotta loosen up so that you give all that 100% loose. That is hilarious.
So I definitely was cracking up when I was seeing the part. Like, can I get an Advil? Because I really had a headache, and I
Yeah.
really was like, so I kind of knew, like once 11 o'clock hit, I was burnt out. I was like, I ain't never in my life had to talk so much about, like I said, I move slow,
Hmm.
so and I've never had to really, I guess, put myself out there competing with the man. So
Yeah.
that was like at 11 o'clock, I was like, you know what?
It's
Oh,
gonna be what
listen,
it's gonna be, right?
it's gonna be what it's gonna be. It's gonna be what it's gonna be, because I
Mhm.
I don't think I could do it at this point. I had really like cranked out. Honestly,
Yeah.
I was tired. I'm human. I
Yeah.
was tired. I
Yeah.
wasn't. I wasn't on my A game, and when it came to when it started getting past midnight, I was like, look.
I don't blame you. I would have been like, hey, do you like me? Or what are you talking about? That's a long time. What was the vibe with the women? Because unfortunately, last season that went horribly wrong with the women. I mean, I've never seen a season like that. And I've watched all from the beginning. This is the sixth season. Most of the seasons, the women are very welcoming towards each other. Even if they do like the same guy, they still have a camaraderie. There's a sisterhood. Last season in DC went terribly wrong. I don't know why that happened. I still don't really understand why it went wrong, but what was your impression just of the vibe with the ladies? Did people seem competitive, or did it feel, open? And that's pretty hard to tell on the first time, but I'm just saying, what was the energy with the ladies?
um the ladies were definitely there to do a job. You can tell, like, okay, they've watched this show, they came in ready to go. They was not playing no games.
Yeah.
But the energy of this cast, those ladies are great. They are some phenomenal women, business women doing great things.
Hmm.
Um, we hang out, we talk, we
Right.
chat, and I have nothing but positive things to say. We don't have those
The
type of
issues.
problems
Yeah.
that the last season had. And I do think that they they did an older casting. So
Hmm.
we're women of a certain age. We're not going to be fighting and doing all that catty stuff. So I think that also has a lot to do with why people think that the Potomac season is different from the DC season. I think age plays a big role in it.
Okay, I could see that. But then but the other part of that is Houston and Atlanta. They were older, and some, I know Atlanta the second time was older, and there still wasn't that type of issue. Like, there might be some little things, but that was just off the chain. So I'm really happy to hear that that's not the case this season. It doesn't feel that way. It just doesn't.
Well, and it's not, us black women in DC, we are, it's a lot of us, and it's a lot of great black beautiful women doing big things, making their own money, have their own businesses, and there's not a lot of men to choose from.
I hear that. It can't
So
be Atlanta.
yeah, it's not a lot of men to choose from on your level, if
Mm.
whatever, on a certain level, I would say. So
Right.
we're competing. So
Mhm.
you're going to see that same energy probably on TV, and that, I think, that might play a big role in it.
That well,
The
that
pickings is slim It's slim out here, y'all.
I'm telling you, it's slim in Atlanta, but I believe that whatever God has for you, it will find you. But I feel you because Atlanta is very much like DC in that regard. There's a lot of amazing women that are very career oriented and are not playing the games. Like they look good, they make money, they do everything. Um, Speaking of that, let me ask you this because this not about you. This wasn't a comment about you, but there was a comment made about one of the other ladies that does she know how to take her boss hat off? And you being a budget analyst, that's a serious position. You're doing, it's a pretty that's a very you're a very successful job. So and you're definitely handling business. How do you see yourself managing that balance between businesswoman and then coming home and being a partner? Do you see yourself, because you made a statement that I think everybody's grandmother told them, like, make him feel like he's leading, but you do what you got to do behind the scenes so that he feels that way. How do you feel about that whole dynamic? Because so often men say that women aren't able to take off the work hat when it comes to being at home and making them feel important and all that good stuff. How do you see that dynamic playing out for your relationship?
Like I said, I'm really traditional. I mean, I'm a city girl, but I'm very traditional. I have a lot of Southern roots.
Mhm.
And I've seen Black love in my household. So I know, and I've seen the roles of a woman, the roles of a mother who works. So I definitely believe, and like Tiffany, I think Tiffany said it, he bring home the bacon, you cooking it up. Like I definitely believe in that. So I think that, we definitely have gotten lost kind of in this whole millennial phase thing because women aren't as traditional now. So men are doing cooking, or men are, the roles are kind of changing now. But I definitely think that a key factor into a relationship is just listening to your man,
Mhm. Mhm.
like really listen to what they say, because sometimes we get caught up in not listening and doing our own thing, and then we miss it, and then it becomes an issue. So I
Mhm.
think listening and just kind of, showing some appreciation.
I hear that. We hear that from men a lot.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
showing some appreciation.
Mhm. What about another thing? So, being a traditional woman and expecting a man to do those traditional roles, do you find that men are, because there are a lot of men that really aren't into that right now? Like there's a shift, like, okay, we're equal. You want to be equal? I'll treat you as equal. There was a situation on the last season where a guy was like, well, I'm not going to pay all the bills. I may pay a bill. I don't see myself as coming in and just, I mean, that's been a consistent theme on the show is men saying, I don't want to do that. And women saying, I want a traditional man, but yet I may be a little non-traditional. But so how do men receive you being traditional? And how do you feel about a man if he's like, I'm okay with, with helping out, but I don't want to have to be leading and everything. I don't want the entire burden to be on me.
I don't have those problems because like we're not going to like it's going to be established before we even entangle any further, because I'm an
Right.
Aries. Someone asked, I'm an Aries. I'm very upfront. I'm
Yeah.
very outspoken, and I know exactly what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
So I don't have expectations for you to, take care of me. That's not the expectation. I have my own. I have my own stuff going on. Trust me.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I do expect for a man to lead. I do.
Mhm.
And leadership does not come in the form of you paying for everything.
Right.
Leadership comes in the form of you being able to hold things down, being a companion, being able to listen, being
Mhm.
able to, if you know something's wrong, how to figure out how to help me. So leadership is something that I am looking for.
Mhm.
And every man doesn't possess those qualities. So I'm not going to just sit here and just talk to someone who doesn't. So, but a lot of guys, when they first meet me, because I'm such an extrovert, they
Mhm.
don't really like traditional. They won't even think. And
Mhm.
then, once they get to know me, they like, wow, you do that? You do that? Yes, of course I do that. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
So
That's good. I do think a lot of times, man, especially if you're an extrovert and you talk, that's usually not the traditional woman is more quiet. She kind of, so that could throw somebody off.
well, I'm traditional in the household.
Gotcha.
I'm
Gotcha.
traditional in the household. As far as if I'm with a man, I, put on my traditional hat because I'm just used to seeing
Those type of
traditional
roles.
things,
Yeah.
how I grew up. So, I'm just gonna naturally jump in that flow of things.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's good. You're that's important. Just reading. I'm distracted with the comments, but the Aries are in the house. Lots of people are shouting out the Aries, so that's what's up. Tell us moving forward. So you had this experience, you learned a little bit. What has dating or what has the experience been like since leaving the show? And I'm sure since the show hit, I'm sure your DMs are starting to see some movement there. What are you looking forward to dating, or have you started dating since being off the show?
I haven't, but what I am looking for, I haven't started dating yet because I've just been busy. But I definitely am looking for, because one thing I just never had is Mr. Romance. So
Oh,
that's something that, and I told production, like, I would love a romantic man. And it's hard to find them. They're not out there. It's not, something that you just get to have all the time. But that is something that I would like to have in my next relationship. So a little bit of romance, a little bit of surprises, things like that.
I think you can have that. I tell people, I believe that we should always do a vision board. I think we should do a vision board for every area of our lives. What we want from a partner relationship, what you want from just your professional career, the other things that you do for self-care and as a mother. So put that down. Do your board, put that down. I promise you, you will definitely get that. You will definitely get that. It's like a lot of times we're afraid to speak it out loud or actually be intentional about the way we go after it, but you can have that. There are some romantic men out here, I think, and I think they are looking for women that will appreciate that, because there are a lot of women that don't.
That I would be so appreciative too. I want to be smitten.
You deserve to be smitten, my son. You will. I promise. I will share this. I put on my vision board like 3 years ago, because I do them every year. Since I moved here to Atlanta, I was invited to a vision board party, and I did it. I did the vision board. I hung it up in my room, and so much of that came true. So none of it was relationship though. It was all my work and other stuff. But I would always put the relationship stuff on there. And then I always wanted, I'm like you, I like romance. I'm like a hopeful romantic, I call it. But I never like really been truly spoiled. And so I was like, I'm gonna put this on the vision board, because I never really stepped out and said I want to be spoiled. But I wrote that down, and the guy that I met, I never had that experience, but I believe that. I mean, he's just amazing. But I believe I put that out in the universe because I was finally intentional enough to say, this is how I want to be treated. I want to spoil him back too, but I really want someone that's really into me. And it never occurred to me to actually say it out loud and
Yeah.
be intentional, and it happened. And I happened to look around like almost a year later. I was like, he really does spoil me. I wrote that on my vision board.
I'm
So
gonna start saying it. I'm gonna
don't do
hashtag
it.
it.
Do it.
Mr. Romantic.
I promise you, those words and what we speak is so powerful. It always comes back. And that's why even when we're saying like, DC or Atlanta, it's so many men, every women, and not enough women, I stopped saying that, because Atlanta is very much like DC in that regard. But I stopped saying it because I was like, you know what? I'm just repeating this problem, and I'm creating my own reality. That may be your reality, but that's not my reality. My
Right.
reality is God's person for me is out there, and he's coming to me, and it could be 28 women or 50 women to every man. He's still going to find me. And so just, we have to have that, put that energy out, and it'll come back. It'll definitely
Correct.
come back. But you did the first step. That first step by putting yourself out there. I admired that. That takes a lot of courage to go on TV and be
It does.
willing to do.
And that's one thing I want to say. Like, it is a process to be on TV,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot for us to put ourselves on TV and be vulnerable. So
Yeah.
you're seeing, that was a 15-hour day. You
Mhm.
saw 1 hour of it.
Yeah.
So, you may look a certain way, but you guys, you got to kind of be easy on the cast, with the comments and the hating, or, because people, we have feelings, so we're human.
Yeah.
And a lot of editing goes on to kind of make people look a certain way, and
Yeah.
that's just not the case.
Yeah. I think a lot of times people are making comments out of their own hurt. So that's not going, unfortunately, they won't take it easy, but it's usually a
No, they won't.
reflection of what they're dealing with. They're not going to do that, trust me. But they are. But again, I want to just say to you, kudos for immediately, because the first thing you said was, I could have been more this way. That's a great quality to have in a friend, in a partner, somebody that is not going to immediately think to point the other finger, because you could have been like, they crazy. I don't know why they say, but you really took accountability, and your guy wasn't there. But the fact that you were willing to do that introspection shows a lot to your character. So
Thank you.
that's huge. So, okay, tell us a little bit, anything else you want to share with us before you leave? How can people support you?
Okay, yes. So I also, they took the casting special away, which I was like, why did they do that? Because they don't get people don't really get to know us. But I also have a women's empowerment group that's called Black Women Do Work for Us. You can find that on Instagram. And I speak at the United Nations in representing of African American women, and talk about the gender gaps that are going on in the workplace. So that's something that I do every March for Women's Month. And I've been doing it for 3 years now. So it's a passion of mine. I enjoy it, and I enjoy just advocating for African American women. So you can find me on that platform, and I do brunches. So I'm trying to start building a network of Black women here in DC. So I would love for you ladies to come out and support my next event that's going on. And if you're in New York at the UN, you can come out to some of the events and support the events that I speak at with the United Nations as well.
I want to ask you, because I don't even think that I know there's a pay gap. There has been for years, but it seems like things are getting better. What's your take on that? Are things not necessarily as good as we think, because we see all these headlines of women in leadership and executive positions? It appears
things are getting better for women, but African American women are just underpaid. In comparison to the demographics in other races. So we are underpaid, and it needs to be told. Something needs to be done about it. So I definitely, and it's voice, us speaking out, us getting together, us networking, and us becoming one unit and saying, hey, this is not right. So, I make it known like, hey, every March, I'm out there advocating, trying to get us some money, ladies, because it is important. It's very important that people take notice. And what I noticed was, a lot of people group us globally, and that was why I started this movement. They're grouping us globally as African women. So they don't really know the demographics on African American women. And as you know, we're out here doing big things. Okay. So we're taking entrepreneurship to the next level. We're CEOs. We're doing it. So it just needs to be recognized and known. So we are kind of lagging behind if you compare it to other races, I would say. Definitely.
That's important, because, like I said, the headlines would suggest, and a lot of times people are like, oh, well, you guys are doing great because we are the leading group in entrepreneurship, definitely in getting leadership positions. But it's good to know that there's still a gap. So don't get distracted and think that everything is okay. We still have more work to do. So kudos to you on doing that. Definitely keep us posted, and send me.
I sure will.
Yeah, let me know, because we're going to be celebrating here at Rolling Out. We're going to be celebrating Women's History Month. We're in the month of Black History. So it's wonderful that Black History kind of slides right into Women's History Month, so we can really continue to get the word out and support other sisters, and make sure that, we're letting people know, yes, we're doing big things, but we still need to keep working. We still got to keep, sharing that information. So that's awesome. Keep me posted on things so we can support that.
I definitely will. I would tag my page on my She Is Cookie. I would tag my my business page as well, so you guys can follow me, and let's just all support each other. We're one voice, so we have to remember that.
Absolutely. So her IG is she_is_cookie. You can go there, and you'll be able to follow the other page, because I definitely want to do that. I follow your Instagram page, but I definitely want to follow the other one, because this is all fun and games, but at the end of the day, we definitely got to support each other in business.
We got to support each other to get that money, ladies. Absolutely. We got to, because we are underpaid, and it's a problem.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, thank you so much, Kina. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
When I talk to you again, I want to hear that you have been writing, you have been speaking it. He's going to be romantic. He is going to sweep you off your feet. He's going to court you. and you will be smitten. And then you'll come back and share with us your love story.
And I want to share my love story. My
You
earrings.
will. I promise you, you will. I think the most beautiful one was the first season of Ready to Love. Courtney went on the show, didn't work out with anybody on the show, and she met a guy. They ended up getting married. And he swept her off her feet, and she was on Say Yes to the Dress, and she came back with him, and they talked about their love story together. It was really, really beautiful. So I say it's out there. Just change the narrative that you speak when it comes to you, and then come back and share with us.
Okay. Thank
All
you,
right.
Crystal.
Thank
you
you.
guys. Bye.
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. We have more surprises coming up this week. We were supposed to have nephew Tommy on tonight, but he had a schedule conflict. So we have him coming later this week because, I got to talk to him about. I see in the comments that you guys have been saying that it is not a good idea to eliminate somebody in that first day. And I kind of agree. I think it's just not enough time to get to know. I understand it's a TV show and it has to move fast, but I'm just saying, like, we really lost two good people. And I think that both Kina and, Fernando could have had some great connections. So we'll see what Tommy has to say about that. We'll have more from the rest of the cast coming up. We know we got to have Tiffany on. She was the latest to go home. So it's all here. I'll see you guys Friday. We'll talk again on Friday after Ready to Love. We got more stuff coming for more great talent. Again, you guys check out the site for that amazing interview with Guy Torrey. I'm so proud of that. I want you guys to make sure that you support it. Okay. All right. You guys have a beautiful and productive week. I love you for watching. I will see you guys right back here on Friday and again on Monday. It's what we do every week. We're keeping each other covered. Enjoy the rest of this week, and I will see you guys soon.